It's Medina from the Clarinet Life, keeping it classically real for y'all. Today I'm going to share with you some more reed purchases that I've made. These might not be the typical reeds that you have seen or used. They're a little bit harder to get a hold of. They're not like D'Addario or Van Doren. That's usually the brand that we're used to in the United States. Rico is probably another one that a lot of people are familiar with, especially younger players. But these reeds, I find that I have to go to like a special store. I was able to order these from New York City, but one of them was able to get at a store in the city. However, they're not as readily available. So I wanted to share it with you so you can get an idea of what's out there. Alright, so here are the reeds. So these reeds, the LEUTHNER reeds, Peter LEUTHNER reeds, there's two cuts that I get, the French cut and the American cut. And I believe the French cut is a little bit softer than the American cut. And I believe the American cut is wider. And it reminds me more of a V12 reed, and then the French cut reminds me more of a V21 Van Doren reed. So it's interesting. I got these from, I believe FOBES is where I bought these. And so I'm going to put that in the description box. And I'm going to also open up these reeds and stuff like that so you guys can take a look at it. But this is the first set. It comes, let's see, professional, 10. So it's 10 reeds in a box, and this looks the same as well. As you can see, they only come in half sizes, so keep that in mind. They're not like in Van Doren, they have the 3.75, the 3.5 pluses. These guys don't come with it. As a matter of fact, I do want to take note on that. I really enjoy having that kind of nuance of having the quarter sizes. D'Addario does that, Van Doren does that, and it's awesome. However, these brands that I'm going to show you, they don't do that. And so my train of thought is I would rather purchase a reed that's harder and then work on it than purchase a reed that's too soft, and then you can't really make that reed harder. So you're going to have to keep that in mind when it comes to making these purchases. Okay, so the next reed that I'm going to show you guys is I believe it's pronounced Stoyar, and these are the exclusives. I bought this, I'm bringing the other one out too. This is another Stoyar reed. So in the land of clarinet, there's French and German system, just the basics, you know, the Bohm and the Euler. So this, let me make it look closer so you can see it. I got a size 4. 4 is the largest size, or the thickest size, I should say, that I was able to get. Okay, made in France. And these, just going back to the LEUTHNERs, these I believe are made in Vienna. Yeah, so a little bit different there. These are made in France, and these are like the French cut, like for Bohm system, and I guess like the French style for mouthpieces. This is Stoyar again, but this is kind of like the German version. Let's see if I can get that clear. And this is the Sabine Meyer version, or I guess model. Again, made in France, French cane, I'm assuming. Okay, and then the other reed that I got was by LIGAPHONE. This is another French company. And with the LIGAPHONE, so the LIGAPHONE reeds, that's this right here, another French company, they have this notion that if you can like create like this kind of scoop, or like it's kind of, I guess, a divot, I don't know the proper name, but basically it's kind of innovative the way they handle this. But if you look at the instructions or like the explanation, the way these reeds are, there's like a divot or like a cut in the back of the reed, so it's like kind of confronting this problem of warpage, or trying to eliminate the problem. So I'm really interested in this. The problem for me though is this was the largest, like the largest size, I always say largest size, but the thickest cut that I could get was a 3.5. So for me already, that seems like it's going to be too soft. I don't know yet. It depends on my setups that I use. So I learned about these reeds from Sasha Negruta, and so I appreciate him sharing that with me. I bought the Stoyar reeds and the LIGAPHONE reeds from INNOLEDY, and INNOLEDY is based in New York City. Okay, so I'm going to start off with these, the German reeds. These are the Sabine Meyer reeds. When I open the package, wrapped, and then it comes with the sticker here. So no one has opened this yet. So finally, I get to open it. Okay, so opening these up, this is how it looks like. There's a bit of a gap here. So this is how it looks. Let's focus. Okay. All right, so this is the packaging that the reed comes in. If you see here, the engraving is in the front. It's not in the back. And the shape of it, these reeds are not those like wide reeds that fan out a lot. They're slimmer. So this is my kind of my setup right now. So I'm kind of getting some other reeds out to show you as a comparison. This is from, okay, so here we go. So the typical reeds that I play are Van Doren's, the V21s, V12s, and the D'Addario. I think it's called Classic Reserve, or Reserve Classic. There you go. I'm looking at it right here. So here's a V21 reed, and here's the V12. So it's a little bit thicker in terms of, well, the V12 is a thicker blank than the V21. It's not as thick, but it's wider. That's what I wanted to mention. And the D'Addario also tends to be a little bit wider, so it covers more space. And so these are the typical reeds that I use. Here's the Stoyar reed, the German Sabine Meyer version. Yeah. I don't know if this is going to be too hard or too soft. This mouthpiece, I tend to use softer reeds. This is a 442 mouthpiece, but I have a barrel that's a little bit longer, so I usually can place 440 with this. My instrument is cold, the first notes of the day, but that's okay. Okay, so with this setup, these reeds are too hard for this mouthpiece, so I'm going to switch it up. Okay, so I just switched my reed. I mean, not my reed, I switched my mouthpiece. So this mouthpiece is a Clark FOBES mouthpiece. I tend to have to use thicker reeds. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so this reed is better suited for this mouthpiece. So I feel like the 4s are kind of like true to size. They're not overly thick or too soft. I think it's pretty typical for most 4s. I used the reeds that the sizes that I normally use is 4 and 3.75. So this doesn't feel unusual. It's not too thick or too soft, and yeah, so I could use this on the Clark FOBES, or I could you know, take it down a little bit and use it for my other mouthpiece. But yeah, I'm gonna try one more mouthpiece just to see. Okay, so this is a Van Doren mouthpiece. This is a 30D, and I feel like this reed is a little bit too hard for that, for this mouthpiece. So I would probably either sand it down a little bit or use it for my FOBES mouthpiece. So, okay, so cool. I'm gonna take this off, and since we're in the land of Stoyar, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, probably not. I'm gonna open up these. Okay, so I took the wrapping off. It's right here. Nothing special, typical. See if I can do this, open this with one hand. Nope, I can't. Okay, so this is how it looks open. It looks basically just the same as these guys right here. See right there has that opening? Same thing. Okay, let's take a look at the reeds. So the same outer packaging, and we have something different here on the engraving. So the engraving is in the front. So there's a size for made in France. And so this is how it looks like. See if it'll focus, focus, focus. Okay, it's not focusing so well. All right, there we go. It's a little bit better. All right, so really quickly, just a quick comparison of the reeds right here. So you see how this is a little more slender, just a tad bit, at least it appears that way to me. And then this one is a little bit wider. So we see here a difference in how this is cut right here versus this. So we got the exclusives. Yeah. So this is how it looks like on the reed, or on the mouthpiece. Okay. When I look at this, it reminds me more of the D'Addario, the way it looks in terms of the width. All right, I wonder. I think the same thing is going to happen. It's going to be too hard for this particular setup. Okay, I was mistaken. This reed, the exclusives, are a little bit softer. At least this particular reed is. We all know all reeds are not created equal. But normally my experience when I see something with French cut, it usually means it's just a wee bit thinner, like a little bit more free blowing. Let's see. Cool. Well, that makes me feel good because I'm trying to use a little bit of a lighter setup. So I'll probably be using these exclusives a little bit more than the I guess the Sabine Meyer ones, because they fit my setup more. Yeah, okay, so I think both reeds are fine. I think for me, the exclusives in this brand range is what I kind of gear towards, but it depends on the mouthpiece that you use, right? So the mouthpiece is a part of the setup, so it has to make sure that everything is kind of aligned, like the stars must align in order for it to happen. So in this case, the reed, the mouthpiece, the ligature, the barrel, and then the instrument itself, and your own embouchure and face shape and all that stuff has to all kind of be in synergy for it to work. And then the other thing is just remember, as you play a reed more and more, it's going to break down, right? Just like any reed, which is why it's so important to rotate your reeds. You don't want to overwork a reed and then lose it. So yeah, I think I like these because more of my setups are a lighter reed setup. So if you're someone who plays like Van Doren V12 or V21s, and you play the 3.5 plus, the 3.75, I think you'll like this. This is a size 4, by the way, just a reminder. It's a size 4. They don't have those quarter sizes. you might be really into this, whereas if you play a size 4 normally, or maybe 4 1/4, 4 1/2, you might be more interested in the Stoyar Sabine Meyer of size 4s. They're a little thicker, a little more resistance. So yeah, creating like a huge mess, of course. So let's start with another set, the Peter LEUTHNER set. So we have French cut, we have American cut, and let's see here. There's a sticker that tells you the size. So there it is right there, size 4. This is also size 4. So why don't we start with the American cut? As a matter of fact, no, let's just start with the American cut first. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, opening this up. So one of the things that I have to say I love is I love the minimal packaging. I'm all about that. That's great. I like that they use, again, it's that paper, kind of paper deal, but I like the minimal, like the Van Doren's, there's just so much packaging within it. But this, we have here, this cover has the brand, and then there's the reed right there. So the engraving is going to be in the back. Okay, and so this is how it looks like in the back. It says American cut. There's the symbol. There's the size. So I'm going to put it next to the other reeds right here, so you could see how it looks. This, to me, resembles more of the exclusive with the width. All right, this is a size 4. They only have half sizes. Where's my ligature? There we go. All right. To me, these remind me of the Van Doren V12 or the D'Addario, but based on how it looks in terms of the width. So this is the American cut, as opposed to the French cut, and I got this at the Clark FOBES store, so you can get it online, Clark FOBES, and they're based. Clark FOBES is based in California, San Francisco. Okay, so already to me, I like the way it sounds. I feel like there's a greater kind of synergy with this reed and this mouthpiece setup that I have. I feel like these reeds are a little bit on the lighter side. So if you're someone who likes to play a size 4 that's like harder, I don't know if you're going to get that with these reeds. And the reason why I'm saying that is this setup that I have is built for lighter reeds. So I already can see that. So you might have to move the reed up a little bit, close, you know, move the reed up, the tip a little bit up. You're getting closer to the heart, you're going to have a little more resistance. I think that with my altissimo, it seems a little bit easier to speak. With the exclusive, there was a little bit more resistance, but I feel like this American cut, the LEUTHNER American cut, and the STEUER exclusive seem to work better for my setup. It's not as hard. Yeah, I like it. And I like the sound. Like there's those 3 aspects of creating sound, right? You have pitch, you have response, and you have color. So response and color are the first things that pick up to me with this, and it works pretty well. And then the other thing, one note about the Sabine Meyer reeds, maybe a 3.5 would work for me. I don't know. I would have to just take that chance and purchase it to see. And I think it might be worth it. I don't know. It depends. Depends on how many reeds I like or don't like, right? Okay, so let's try the French cut. All right, so this is the French cut. So we have their Peter LEUTHNER reeds, made in Vienna, French cut, professional. Okay, so we see the labels different. Same thing with the sticker sort of deal. So I'm assuming the packaging is going to be exactly the same. Spoiler alert, it is. I've looked in here before. Okay, so here we go. All right, so I have the reeds in here. I'm going to take this out really quickly. All right, so already, I'm just going to get the other reed out. Let me see. It's kind of the, I was going to say the white background here. I'll just do this. You can see the difference here. All right, so already there's a little bit more of a slenderness to the French cut. Okay. So let me show you that comparison one more time. Okay, this is the French cut right here. You see this a little bit slimmer. This is the American cut, and in the back, there you go. Very similar. Okay. My prediction is that this reed is going to be a little bit softer than the American cut, but I don't know yet. We'll see. I do think, though, comparison to the Sabine Meyer reeds, I think this is a little bit slimmer. So, let's see. Kind of similar. Let me make an adjustment with my ligature really quickly. You know what's interesting is this reed, it wasn't what I predicted. This reed reminds me so much of the exclusives, the Stoyar exclusives. The way the top notes, the altissimo, is responding, it's very similar. So the fact that this reed is working so well on this mouthpiece, it's like just a hint. It's like a hint harder. It would be nice for it to be just a wee bit softer. But you know what? Reeds break down, right? So I think it's okay. I would have to rotate this and try it out and see how much I want to take off the reed. I think if you normally play a size 4, like a harder, like more than just a 3.5 or 3.5 plus, I think you would really like these reeds. But I do think they err on the side of a little bit softer because it works with this mouthpiece. So you might find that it might be a little bit too soft, but I find that these play a lot like the exclusive reeds. Yeah, so I think for me, for this setup that I have, I would consider repurchasing these reeds because it works well with the setup. And the other thing is, again, all reeds are not created equal. This one could be just like a wee bit harder, and then the others might not be that way. So again, it's I'm playing it right out of the box, and it's okay. Let's take a look at what else I have. Okay, so maybe I save the best for last, or the most unique for last. Let's take a look at the LIGAPHONE. So one of the really cool things about the LIGAPHONE reeds is this is pack 2 right here. Got this at INNOLEDY, and they do have a pack of 10. But what I do like is that I can at least try it out. So it's not like, oh man, I spent like $30. Like I think this was like around $6 or $8. So it's one of those things that it's totally worth it just to like try it out. And Diodario and Van Doren, I think also, and maybe even Rico, they also do that. I don't know if Gonzalez or Zonda does that. I don't think they do. But yeah, so that's cool about these. This is a 3.5 though. The others that I had played were 4. So I'm a little skeptical, but I'm really excited to take a look at these reeds. Okay, so it has like a seal. It's sealed right here. So packaging. Maybe you can see it a little bit better. It's kind of shiny. The light. It's natural light right here. Okay. Okay. So, this is the way it looks right here. Just take it out of the package. One big paper. And so it comes like this. Okay. So, we see that there's no engraven writing in the front. These reeds kind of remind me of the width of the exclusives. All right, I'm gonna give it a shot. Let's take a look and see what this is about. Okay, so here we go. 3.5, there's the L, and this is what I'm referring to with that little scoop. You see that? I don't know if it's picking up on the camera, but you can see there's a little bit of a dip in there. All right, it's throughout here. My hope is that this reed is not going to be too soft. We'll see what happens. So it's like all business in the front, party in the back. This might wind up being too soft. I don't know. Part of me feels like it probably will be. The first thing I'm thinking about is, you know, has less cane, right? I don't know. Let's see. The suspense. The reed. It's getting cooler in New York City. Last day of summer is today. Huh. Right. So already, just because it says 3.5, I don't want to put it below the tip of the mouthpiece. All right. I'll have to see if there's a thicker size. Okay, so it is softer, but you know what? Just playing it right out of the box, it reminds me of the Diodario 3.5 plus. Just the response. Okay, so that to me is a clear sign that this reed is too soft, and in my opinion probably won't last very long because it's so soft. Is when I start playing, like, I don't know, for me, it's like borderline. It makes me a little bit worried. Let me play the lower. I do like how it sounds in the lower, the Shalyamo. So, I think it's pretty cool. It's working really well for this setup. I think if you're someone who prefers harder reeds, this might not be the ticket for you, but it depends. When I looked at the INNOLEDY website, that was the hardest reed. So, yeah. But let me show you how it looks on the mouthpiece. So it's wider. It's not as slim, and it's not like the V21s where they kind of have a slight fanning out a little bit. They also remind me a little bit of the V21 3.5 pluses, the 3.75. I do think though to me they're a little bit more reminiscent of the D'Addario. For me, D'Addario tends to be a little softer than the Van Doren. So in terms of color and response, it works well, I think, for my setup. Yeah, so that's a lot of reeds for me to try out and to buy. But you know what? It's totally worth kind of like investigating, being the reed investigator. Yeah, and you know what? I think for me, the American cut LEUTHNER, the Stoyar exclusives, and the LIGAPHONE, I think those were the ones that worked the best for my setup. And I think, you know, and of course I'm going to continue to use D'Addario and Van Doren as well, because, you know, it's a brand, those are brands that I'm used to, and I usually, like, I go based on performance. You know, if it's something that always plays well and I feel comfortable, that's the most important thing, right? Like, you got to feel comfortable in your performance. I think the other thing is with this LIGAPHONE reed, like, because it's 3.5, it makes me like want to play it for like 20 seconds and then put it away, because I don't want to wear it out, you know. I feel like also the concern for me would be that the reed, it would be extremely saturated so quickly. You know, like a lot of times people will polish their reeds, you know, that sort of stuff. But to me, it's like, I get worried that if I polished it, it would then be entirely too soft. Whereas with the exclusive, the French cut or the American cut, and even the S80, the Meyer, I wouldn't be so worried about that. So when you decide to get reeds, if they're too soft or they're kind of like close to being too soft, you got to kind of take that into consideration. Alright guys, so thanks so much for checking it out. Thanks so much for watching. You know, subscribe, hit the like button if you like the video, and yeah, let me know if you wind up buying these reeds, and let me know what reeds you like to play, because I always want to try out like new reeds to see, hey, what else is out there. So I hope this was helpful, and I will be putting the information in the description box. Thanks so much, and take care.